Yeah, up 7.5%. Golly, golly, golly. Let's see what else we got here. So much news today too. Mexico. So it sounds like Mexico is actually going to be maybe announced at Investor Day. I don't know. Sounds like that news is imminent, coming out very soon. Let's see what else we got. And then if you guys did see, I'm gonna bring it up here. Let me bring it up on the screen for you guys. Twitter. So, where did it go? There we go. So this here, if you guys happen to see it, I saw it. If you guys are not registered for investor relations emails, I recommend it. So this way, if there's ever a Form 4 filing, the 13G that came out for this, any sort of news that comes out that's going to be SEC filings, you'll get an email for it. All you have to do is go to investor relations. It's ir.tesla.com. Make sure that you are registered. So either log in or create an account. And then you can just sign up to make sure that you're checked off for emails to receive those. So you'll get these immediately. So if you ever go on like Twitter or something or see somebody post it immediately and you're like, how did you find out so fast? It's because they get the emails. So this here came out and we see that there is this Form 4 filing from Elon. And you're like, well, I thought he wasn't going to be selling. What happened? Well, these are just from last year, all $0 sale donations. So he donated 11.6 million shares of stock between August 12th and December 27th to a charity. The charity is not listed. Do not know what that is, but 11.6 million shares of Tesla stock were donated last year from Elon. So if we look at the dates, I actually wonder if any of those dates correspond with like some of the big sell-offs. Like here's 5 million on December 21st. We knew the last couple of weeks of 2022 were quite brutal. So I'm actually curious as to how this plays into it. I truly don't know. So I don't know if this is like one of those open market selling things that we see bring the stock price down, or if this is something totally different. If you guys do know, please share, because that I don't know. I am unfamiliar with the donation portion of the SEC filings. But look at Elon, big bad Elon, bad guy, donating 11.6 million shares. Let's see, what else do we have? And then the big news is, sounds like we may be seeing Mexico after all. We know that there's been some news coming, some news it's not coming. And there was where was it? An official, maybe it's up here. I will have to find this. One of the top officials in Mexico had said that they're looking forward to it coming. Mm. I'm not sure what's going on with Wi-Fi right now. I apologize, probably because with my Wi-Fi. Not really. Good evening. So I will have to try and figure that out and get it verified. But let's see. We'll continue on here. Let's just do it this way. Tesla Mexico. Super slow. I'm not sure what's going on. All right. So report from Teslarati. Let's do this. Copy here. And what do you guys think about CPI this morning. Very interesting there. Let's go here. All right. Oh, here you go. Raymond Chen. The Mexican president stated a few days ago that Tesla will be in one of the two candidate locations. Yeah, I saw that. And then the strange thing about it was he had said that and said that they were still, trying to hash out where it was going to be. So it sounds like they were in talks, but it wasn't like finalized. Like they still had a bunch of things to hammer out and figure this out. So going from that point to where we are now, which sounds like it's imminent, was kind of a shock. So unless they were a lot further along than we were led to believe, that's totally possible. Let me do this. I can get this up for you. All right. So, yeah, so Tesla will soon announce good news in Mexico, where it has been rumored to be mulling locations for its next automotive production plant, Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard said on Tuesday. So, I mean, that sounds pretty promising that Tesla is going to announce good news soon. So again, we don't know we don't know when soon is, but that sounds pretty darn good. Stratton Oakmont. Hi Tim, do you still think we'll find our retracement back to the 144-ish level? And what are the chances the Fed raises by 50 basis points in March? Based upon the CPI we got this morning. So for you guys who did not see it, the estimates were 6.2%. We came in at 6.4%. Now, if you guys saw what I had mentioned this morning, I was hoping we were going to come in at 5.9 to 6.1%. But after all the revisions we saw from last year, I was kind of guessing that we would see 6.3 to 6.4%. So we did get that 6.4%. Month over month came in line at 5.5%, but 0.5% is 6% annualized. Now, if you go back the last 6 months, it's actually much lower than that. So I think Ross Garber had mentioned what it was, but so if you go back, last 6 months played out is good, but now we're trending up versus trending down. So it's just something that we need to watch. And the Fed did say that inflation is going to be sticky. They do not plan on relinquishing their grip on raising interest rates. So seeing a 50 basis point in March, I thought we'd see 25. Maybe we do see 50, and maybe that 50 is what ends up causing the massive pullback in the market. And then, yes, I think we will retrace to visit 144. Again, not to be bearish, not to do anything like that. I don't mean to spread any FUD here, but looking at the macro environment, we still have that one last drop. There's a lot of liquidity still in the market that needs to get flushed out. Chamath himself said that he's thinking 5, 6, 7 years of high interest rates are what is needed to really flush all of this liquidity out. That's a long time. And now high interest rates, I think you can still consider 3% to be high, considering the Fed wants to be around 2 to 2.5%. So seeing those numbers, yeah, I think it's possible. And anybody who is a doubter saying, oh, we're never going to pull back, we're never going to go through that, this is what I look at. And again, just objectively looking at things, we've got even Elon thinking that we are going to be going through some tough economic times and a potential recession. We've got a lot of big money thinking the exact same thing. We have a lot of big time investors thinking we are going to be seeing this pullback. I have 401k advisors. I have real estate agents. I have real estate brokers. Everyone in the market all anticipates this is going to happen. We just have not gotten there yet. So when everybody seems to be on the same page about this potentially happening, chances are it's going to happen. Now, again, we did see, BlackRock, Vanguard, the Soros one, George Soros and his fund just bought a whole lot of Tesla stock at the end of the year. That was at that 101 price tag. So between $100 and $110 was a great buying opportunity for them. That was back then. We've now doubled in price. I can almost guarantee that they are not buying at these prices right now. So again, they're all buying it for long-term plays. So they didn't spend all of their money. They just added to their positions at that level. So going forward, there's a chance that they are going to be adding more to their positions as we come down again. But where that coming down is going to be, I don't know. So that's just kind of where I'm at in this whole entire, being patient thing, saving up cash. Elon himself says cash will be king this year. You want to have cash to be ready. So, if you guys are all in, cool, that's good. You got to make your own decisions for your own portfolios. But I'm still anticipating that pullback. Now I'm done selling. I'm not going to be selling any more shares. For those of you guys who have followed, I have sold now 12 shares in my IRA. I still have 11 left. I'm going to be sitting on those and I'm just going to wait. I have a buy set in for $125 and I'm just going to wait and be patient, see what's going to be happening. And then if I feel like I need to change the price or whatever, I'll let you guys know and I will update from there. But I do think we are going to be getting that pullback. I may end up putting in a buy order in at that 144 level. The first orders that I sold were at 152. So I would still be able to gain a little bit on that, not a lot, but those first 3 shares I sold were kind of at the I'm an unsure level, and then we took off from there. So I'm just waiting to see, but I do think we will get that pullback at some point. And again, with Investor Day coming up, if they announce a Mexico Gigafactory, don't forget that's news that is now coming out ahead of Investor Day. So this is now the rumor. This is the buy the rumor, and then you sell the news. So if this is the rumor, people are buying right now. That's why one of the reasons why we may have run up 7.5% today. Then when we get the news, if we get that on Investor Day, sorry about that. I'm still out and what's happening. Awesome. The joy of live streaming. Raymond, I don't even know if you guys can hear right now. If you can, let me know. I'm or anything coming through. It's let's see. Well, there was a lot of stuff in the news today. Are we back? Hopefully, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. My Wi-Fi is really wonky right now. There was a big accident down the road from me. I wonder if they hit one of the. I wonder if they hit something that caused this to go out. I'm not sure. So I apologize if I'm in and out. Not sure what's going on with my Wi-Fi right now. I don't know where I lost you guys, but hopefully we're good. Hopefully we're good now. Okay, excellent. All right, I'm back. So hopefully this won't happen again. I'm truly not sure. I've got good Wi-Fi here too, and I don't even have a plug to plug in. So anyway, wonky Wi-Fi for a wonky owner. Yeah, you're not wrong. I got that wonky in me. What's behind me right now? I'm not sure, Karav. It might be Shanghai. Very well could be. I actually, so for you guys, when I put up a picture like this today, I just Googled Tesla Mexico, and this is one of the first pictures that popped up. So obviously it's not Tesla Mexico, but Kelvin, when did you buy your first Tesla share? I bought my first Tesla share in December of 2021. What year are we in? Yeah, 2021. Yes, it was a month after the S&P inclusion is when I bought my first shares, and so I thought I was timing it really well. And of course, you've got to look at the time frame. If you look at it long term, if I'm playing this 10 years, anytime right now is a good time to buy. So realistically, that is it. So so I would say go ahead and buy anytime if you're doing it long term. And that's what I did. So I was planning on playing it long term. Obviously, we saw many ups and downs between then and now. But I'm actually pretty close with us where we at right now with my cost basis and from dollar cost averaging. I am actually down 8% right now. That's it. Surprisingly down 8%. I was down almost 60% previously, and now I'm down 8%. Of course, if we get a pullback like I'm anticipating, that's going to go up, but that's going to give me an opportunity to dollar cost average or bring my cost basis down. Next level for Tesla. Actually, let me bring up, I will bring up the chart right now and show you guys what I have for levels here. Let's do it this way. Make it bigger for you guys, because I know some of you guys are watching on your phone and it's not as easy to see this. So looking at levels here, so above us right now, so we've got this 207 level, which we keep on bouncing at. So yes, we closed over it, which is awesome. We closed over it previously as well. Above here, we've got like that 212 to 213 level, which we bounced off of last week and then came down from there. So now looking at this cup and handle, which we had discussed previously, this is looking like it's playing out pretty nicely here. So now we're forming this handle. So last time we saw this was back in September. We actually did not break out and we broke down instead. So are we going to get that same scenario or are we going to break out? We're kind of in that zone right now where we could be creating this handle. Maybe we trade sideways around this level for the next 2 weeks until Investor Day and then break out from there. Down from here, we've got that level at 191. So we literally played between these two levels that I've got here, 207 level and 191. Below that's 179, basically 180, then 167, then 150. If we do end up popping and we break out over that 213, I've got 221 and then 232 above that. And then above us, we do have a gap above us at 262. So that right now is the only gap above us that I have seen. I've gone back. I have not seen anything above 262. Let's see. Marty, compact. Maybe that is what they're going to do there, because you have to remember when they're going to be putting up a factory. Let's say they do announce it in Mexico on March 1st. By the time they actually start breaking ground and then get that factory built, even if they build it at the speed that they built Shanghai, that means that by this time next year, the factory will be up and built. Then you have to start production on the vehicles. So even if, again, you ramp like Shanghai, it's going to take you probably a year to get to volume production on their vehicles. So we're looking at probably early 2025 that whatever vehicle they're producing from there is going to be at volume production. So realistically, if you look at what vehicles do you think that we are going to be having out in 2025, that could very well be the compact car. Maybe that's the robotaxi. Truly don't know. I think the robotaxi might be something that they actually build in Shanghai, because there's a lot more autonomy that's going on over there than we have here in the US. So that might be something that we see over in Shanghai getting built first, then we see it here. But maybe for Mexico, that is going to be the compact plant, because thinking about the proximity of Mexico to Austin, it's not like it's super close, but it's close enough that with Austin still ramping, what would be the point of putting a factory in Mexico to produce the same vehicles that you are producing out of Austin? Makes no sense. So to me, if they are going to choose Mexico, it leads me to believe that they're going to be producing a vehicle there that is not being produced anywhere else. Knowing now that they're going to be producing the semi over in Nevada and expanding on Lathrop, that tells me that they're not going to be building the semi down in Mexico either. They're going to be focusing on the semi in Nevada. So chances are this Mexico factory is going to be for a new vehicle. That's my guess, if that is how this plays out. Let's see. AYMR down 16%, did not dollar cost average. Yeah, so dollar cost averaging, and that was one of the things I wanted to show you guys over the course of this year. So I've been doing the swinging in my IRA, and I purposely did not sell in my main portfolio. One, because I don't have a lot of shares in there to begin with, but I also wanted to show the power of dollar cost averaging, even for a little guy. Now, if you guys were watching the other day, I did say that I switched my daily ads from $25 down to $20. Again, I am anticipating that pullback, so I wanted to save up more cash and be ready for that at lower prices. So if we do drop below 150, I will then bring that back up to $25 a day. Depending on where my cash level is at that point, I may bump it up to $30 just to start putting more of that cash in on a dollar cost averaging basis. That's my way of timing the market. I can't time the market, nobody can. But with dollar cost averaging, I can say we're on a downtrend. I'll start adding more on a regular basis to be able to catch more of that downward trend. That's what I did before. That's how I was able to drop my cost basis from about 265 down to 228. So that has been working out very well for me. You're very welcome. Raymond Chen, no compact Osborne effect impact Model 3 sales. Robotaxi makes more sense, not sold to public. Yeah, I thought about that, but thinking about what they're doing with the Model 3 right now and really separating that from the Model Y, the Osborne effect is going to come in if they say, "Hey, we're going to be selling the Model 2 or whatever it's going to be." If they say that they're going to be doing that, and they say it's not going to come out for 6 months, that would definitely affect the Model 3 sales. But if they said, hey, we're going to be coming out with the compact car, don't forget it's going to take a little while for it to ramp. But they say, hey, we're coming out with a compact car, and the price is going to be significantly different, but different from the Model 3. But you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck in the Model 3 to make it worth paying more money. Then you won't see that Osborne effect. It's really getting into a different type of market. So just like when you see a bunch of different models for, like you've got the Toyota Corolla and the Camry, it'll be something very similar to that. So you'll have the Model 3 would be like the Camry, and then you're going to have this Model 2 be sort of like the Corolla. And so obviously the Corolla, you don't see that Osborne effect between those two. So I think we would end up seeing that same scenario play out with that new compact vehicle, especially if it comes out to be something like a hatchback. So it's almost like a mini version of the Model Y. Some people are going to want the sedan like the Model 3 versus having that compact car or that hatchback type car like the Model 2. Let's see here. Ooh, this is a good one. When will a European megapack factory happen? Europe desperately needs all the power they can get. I agree. Right now, obviously, we heard about Ontario. That is a monster megapack project that's going on, $500 million. So right now, it's one of those things where, are we going to be seeing, these mega pack projects going up over in Europe? If we start seeing those projects going up, then a factory would make sense there. With this massive factory, with this massive project going on in Canada, maybe in Canada we actually see that factory go up there. Probably not, because Nevada obviously is expanding. So I'm still guessing that we are going to see a mega pack factory come in Australia. That to me is going to be the next place that we're going to see a mega pack factory. As far as Europe goes, I don't know. I don't know what export costs are for Australia. So if they were going to do a mega pack factory in Australia, are they then going to export it over to Europe? Maybe they put a mega pack factory in Indonesia, because I know Indonesia has been barking to have an automotive factory and they want to have everything in Indonesia. So maybe they put a mega pack factory there, a lot lower costs of production. The country really wants it, and export costs are probably less. I truly don't know, but they may be less coming out of Indonesia to be able to ship over to Europe. Maybe Roadster Mexico. I doubt it, Nigel. Strictly based upon what we had heard from Franz, when Franz was telling us that they are working on the Roadster, but it's not high priority because they're really looking at scaling to extreme size. So again, if we're going to be hearing about the mega pack or about the factory coming in Mexico on Investor Day, and Investor Day is all about scaling to extreme size, saying that the factory is going to be producing a very limited niche vehicle really doesn't make sense for that. Karav, I would think that they would build in Europe to avoid shipping costs. I agree. I would think so as well. Just like we saw with Shanghai, Shanghai was first put up, and then they exported to Europe until that was built there. They might do the same in Indonesia. I truly don't know. If Indonesia is looking to be putting up a giant mega pack project, then it could make sense. Maybe India, if India wasn't such, God, if they weren't so difficult with all of their fees and all their costs and stuff, that would make the most sense. But yeah, so maybe Europe. I mean, I don't know where in Europe they would put it. There's lots of different options over there. Maybe Ukraine. Maybe Ukraine is going to be the place that they decide to do this with everything that's going on there. Obviously, right now would not be a good time to do it, but perhaps in their rebuilding process, once the war finally settles down, that might be an option. Raymond, ooh, Ontario Megapack location just 50 miles away from my home. I should go plug in my Model 3 there. Yeah, and actually, if you ever go there, I know 50 miles sometimes isn't close, but if you ever swing by and take pictures, definitely share them with us. I'd love to see what's going on with the project. Europe would probably give big incentives to keep production there. That's true. Obviously, they wouldn't choose Germany because of all the red tape, but and France is a terrible idea. After talking with Alexandra, France is a terrible idea to go into. But yeah, somewhere else there. My one of my old coworkers is in Hungary, maybe there, maybe Turkey to help them rebuild from the earthquake. Could be a place to go. There's a lot of options in Europe. So yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do end up putting one there in Europe. Mike, my boy, smash that like button. Thank you. Karav. Yeah, I wish India was easier with stuff like that. I don't get it either. Like, massive population, a great potential, but they're so rigid on what they do over there. If they just allowed more things, if they just weren't as tight as they were, they could have so much more than they do. Marty, I think Indonesia gets a Tesla semi factory, huge need for those vehicles and curb pollution. That's true. I heard about in China that they actually have, I don't know enough about China, but I heard that they have a lot of semi trucks in China. So realistically, I don't know if they would do Indonesia semi truck factory and then export to China because they would use more semi trucks in China. I would guess. I don't know. I'm assuming that they would use a lot more semis in China. So maybe they put up a semi factory in China alone. Karab, I need to study for. I don't even know how to say that. Stoichiometry. Wow. Yeah. I hate even saying that. Good luck, dude. Have a good evening studying for that. Oh man. Yeah, so, looking at the semi in China, that's gonna be a big one too. There is so much positive stuff going on for Tesla at the moment. Yes, we're seeing this awesome run, and I hate ever talking about, a pullback coming on the stock based upon gaps, but seeing as all the stuff that we saw last year, I can't rule anything out, and it would be not right for me to not share it with you guys. If it's something that I see, I want to make sure I share it with you guys, even if I get a bunch of crap for it because I'm being bearish or I'm spreading FUD. I want to be realistic and upfront with you guys, and I see these things as a potential. I see potential up, I see potential down. I try to give you guys both sides of the scenario that I see, just to be open and honest and help you guys make a better decision for yourselves. That's really all I'm trying to do. Let me see. Lack charging infrastructure and supply chain in Indonesia. I agree. Well, they have the nickel over there, so they've got a lot of the minerals that they need over in Indonesia. So it's not a bad place to have it. As far as the talent goes, because I know that's a big piece of it. I don't know what they have for talent in Indonesia, but the infrastructure itself, I think this is a big piece. And I was speaking about it earlier is when it comes to the infrastructure, we're going to start looking at a bunch of like third world countries. We can see a lot of places in Africa, a lot of places in South America starting to bring these things up because these are areas of the world that are third world countries because they don't have access to, a good power source, to the internet, to a lot of things like that. And this is what Elon's focus is being able to give access to these things to so many more places. It's like when he brought Starlink down to Brazil, giving schools there an opportunity to learn that they didn't have the opportunity with before. So if Elon's going to have an opportunity to go into places in the world and provide them with things like this, he's going to do that. When it comes down to whatever's going to fund it, that I don't know. I don't know if it's going to have to be countries investing in this, how that's going to end up working out. But I have a feeling something like Indonesia, who's willing to make that investment to say, hey, you know what? Maybe Tesla can come in here and really build up and work on our infrastructure, could be something that they end up doing. Marty, only problem with semi-factory in China, Tesla doesn't want to put all their eggs in one basket. I agree. So that's where you've got to play out. And obviously Tesla and the board and Elon know better than any of us. as far as the logistics, and weighing at the logistics of, is it worth putting all of their eggs for the Semi and, the Model Y and Model 3 in China versus the payment that it would cost to import the Semi in from another country? So that's a question obviously they can only answer, and we'll only find out in due time. But it does make sense, and it is, one thing that I'm sure they're toying with right now is which way to go with that. Let me see. There was something else I wanted to see here. Oh yeah, initiation. Where was it? Mm, let's go here. Hopefully this doesn't screw it up, because last time I tried to share a screen with you guys, it screwed up my Wi-Fi. Let's do this. Go here. Twitter. Yep. So we've got. Nope, that was there. Yep, Thailand officially started. Why is this not loading? Thailand started doing theirs. The charity, we talked about that. Oh yeah, there it is. Barclays, Dan Levy initiated coverage. So Barclays is a one that hasn't currently been rating Tesla. So now they are, and they gave it an overweight rating with a price target of 275. So significant upside from here. And for those of you guys who are not familiar with price targets and stuff like this, um, price targets when analysts give them out are 12 months. So it's a 12-month price target of $275, which still a great upside, but my price target has gone up. For you guys who are members and patrons, I just updated that last weekend, and I'll give you guys a new update this weekend. I increased energy significantly, so I've been diving more into the numbers for energy. Haven't had a chance to really go into myself to do my own valuation model on it, but listening to some great guys over on Matt is great with energy over on Twitter discussing what's going on, I increased my numbers significantly and my price targets went up, more so long term, but even near term they went up. So end of this year, I think I'm at like 236. Let me see. 229 currently for the end of this year is where I'm at. And that might go up, and I'm, no different than anyone else. My price targets change based upon the information that I get. It would be silly of me to hold with a price target, if I see new information that should change the price target. So if I see things that make it change, but thinking that that's still relatively decent upside from where we are right now. But if we do get that pullback, which I am anticipating, coming out of that lull, we may get a deep lull for, 3 months or so, and then come up and come out of this, and then finally start to level off and climb. And at that point, if we do end up pulling down to, let's say, that 114 level, getting back to 229, that's another 100% gain. That's a 2x on the point from the year. So if we end up, let's say we drop to 114 in June for whatever reason, that's 6 months we can be gaining 100%. We already saw that happen in 1 month. So anything can happen this year. This is why I try to share everything with you guys, because right now anything can happen. Let's see. Galveston Mike. Should SpaceX Super Heavy lift from Boca Chica launch next month? You think this could have an impact on Tesla on NASDAQ? It might. We kind of saw that the other day when we got good positive SpaceX news, hearing about the Starlink IPO, or well, Starlink being profitable this year. Hearing things like that really goes back to when you look at, people talking about the Tesla brand taking a beating because of Tesla or because of Elon and his tweets. When you see Elon's companies succeeding, Super Heavy taking off, we've got Starlink becoming profitable. You start to see this, the Elon brand becomes stronger. When we see Elon's brand become stronger, that's going to make Tesla's brand become stronger as well. So yes, absolutely. And if we, hearing about Twitter and Twitter becoming more successful, that's going to be another piece. And then all of a sudden you've got this credibility of, hey, everything Elon touches turns to gold. You start to get that coming out. It gives you a much better brand feel. Obviously Elon, doesn't give a crap about what other people think and just goes out there and does what he thinks is right. And it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And then those people think that, he's destroying the brand. But what we have seen so far is brand destruction only carries you so far, and then you drop prices of your vehicles enough, and that brand destruction goes away. Kind of funny. Let me see. Raymond, semi will take a while to ramp up 50K in 2024. So decision of another semi factory can wait until proven manufacturing process. Very true. That's very true as well. And again, if they are going to ship them, who knows what's going to happen with that? Um, but again, I don't know what the date and time frame is on getting that factory up and running. But even if it's the same as what we've been talking about, that gets up and running. We get into 2024. Let's say they finish building that factory by the end of this year, beginning of next year. They get to higher volume production of the semi by the end of 2024. That's just starting to ramp there. Again, we are still at the early stages of this, folks. We are, just have two factories basically fully ramped right now. Obviously Fremont and Shanghai are going to continue to improve more, but right now it's just those two, and we've got Austin and Berlin still starting their ramps. We have maybe Mexico coming up to just start the ramp. There's a lot still ahead of us to go. Znegel. That's awesome. I like that. I think it is a start. I think it is smart to keep an eye on a possible dip ahead. I think we have a lot of interesting news on March 1st besides Mexico. So I don't think we will get sell on the news. That's true. We might not. I truly don't know. And based upon what Elon had been saying about Investor Day, about its for all investors, not just Tesla specific investors, there might be a lot that goes over people's heads. There might be a lot of things that are like, all right, well, that's awesome for humanity in the future, but what's it going to do for my stock? And that's how Wall Street's going to look at it. And if they don't see anything that's going to help them directly in their stock, could be a sell the news. And then don't forget, there's purposeful market manipulation, where hedge funds are like, oh, we've got all of these Tesla fans that are super excited from Investor Day. We're going to start pumping the stock up ourselves going into Investor Day because we know that people are going to be excited. Tesla to the moon. And then they purposely pull the rug out from underneath us. We've seen it happen before, and we'll see it happen again. So I have no doubt. So that really is the reason I think we might see us sell the news, just because it's manipulation purposely doing that. Yes. Phil McMahon, we need to keep in mind that Tesla could announce an out of the blue product at any time, something completely new. Tesla is an idea factory. That's very true. And what we have also seen is they're very good with timing of this. So they're not going to want to announce something like a new vehicle during a time of, economic troubles. So, whatever they're going to announce, I don't know if they're going to announce a new vehicle on Investor Day or just that platform itself. But it might be one of those things where they might be waiting until, all right, once the economy is settled, they kind of get an idea of what kind of recession we might be in, get an idea of what the Fed is going to be doing for interest rates going forward. At that point, when the market has a bit more clarity to the entire economy, that might be when they announce that vehicle. And absolutely, they could just do it on a whim and a surprise and not be like, hey, here's a scheduled event for what's going on. They're just like, oh, by the way, we're going to do this. So you're absolutely right on that. And that could, when that happens, I hope you've got shares at that point, because if you don't, you're going to be buying at a higher price. Oh yeah, Raymond. Wall Street analyst price target is fair weather based. If the stock price rose from 100 to 200, they adjust their price target from 150 to 250 after the fact. You're absolutely right. This goes back to one of the things that I think about all the time is when I look at price targets from analysts, I kind of do an average and I try to look at trends. And if they're all trending up, that is a good trend up direction to go. That's a good sign. We saw it before when bears were coming up. So bears would be like, hey, we're still having a sell rating, but we're going up 15% on our price target. That tells me something good is going on with the company. But you're absolutely right, because, oh, things are going well, we'll raise our price targets up. Oh, things are going bad, we're dropping our price targets down. And I try not to do that with mine when it comes to the macro environment. I try to do a baseline of I think the macro is going to be, at a point at the end of this year where the Fed may be thinking about lowering interest rates in like the beginning of Q2 of 2024. So I put my baseline at that, and then I'll fluctuate it based upon information we get from Tesla themselves. So obviously, energy growing faster than anticipated caused me to bring my price target up. But when it comes to the macro, I've already got that worked into mine. Uh, AYMR, what price do you think it will go to before falling? My initial thought was 220. Now we hit 214, bounced off of that, came down. I thought myself personally, and I was wrong. I thought that was going to be the beginning of the drop, and we were going to see the pullback at that point. So with today's move, I was clearly wrong on that. So maybe we do run back up to 220, but we'd have to cross that 213 level, which we hit pretty hard and didn't cross. Um, so if we can cross 213, maybe we hit that 220 mark, because there's another level at that 220, 221 mark. So if we hit that, then that might be the next level we go to before we pull down. Obviously, if we get some crazy news and a lot of push and go higher, maybe we hit the next level above that. Now, my thoughts also are going to a strict market manipulation standpoint. I think that knowing the market we're in is going to be swinging up and down a lot, we could be seeing a lot of intentional pushes. So if they see a lot of FOMO coming into the stock, they could intentionally push it higher to create more FOMO, draw in more money from retail investors. Once we get to that point where they're like, all right, we feel like that retail dollar is exhausted, now we pull the rug out and we go in the opposite direction. Strictly them manipulating the market to play people's emotions to get as much money out of them as possible. So I thought we had seen that. I thought we had seen that exhaustion coming out this morning. Obviously, again, like I said, I was wrong. The whole market did end up, Tesla significantly outperformed the market. But when I look at other things realistically, like we missed expectations when it came to CPI. And not only that, but with the revision of it coming down to 6.4% last month, us literally matching that 6.4% from last month and then going up on a month over month basis for CPI and inflation really makes me wonder, why would the market and Tesla react in a positive manner to what is clearly negative news? Very confusing. And that's why I always take that step back and take my emotions out and say, all right, whatever FOMO I had for the stock itself, let me take a look at the bigger picture here and see what's going on. And then I ask those questions as to, well, why is it that the market and the stock are performing in a positive manner with negative news? I just ask those questions to myself, and that's what helps keep me grounded. Marty, naming a Twitter CEO would boost the Tesla stock. Honestly, like we obviously thought about that before, but now, like, do we need it? I don't even know if it matters anymore. Like that whole drama and stuff is over with. Like, who's even talking about that anymore? I don't even hear about it. All of that drama was just totally unnecessary and all strictly brought up because there were so many people who couldn't handle the stock price going down and needed to point a finger at someone. That's exactly what that was. And it drives me crazy. And that's why myself, I was excited about buying at those lower prices. Many of you guys did the exact same thing. And who did we see at the end of the year with all of that drama going on, buying the most? Funds. We had BlackRock, Vanguard, Soros Fund, all of these. And actually, we should be hearing about Berkshire soon as well to see if maybe they were one of the buyers that came in also. So it's like, when you look at what the big money is doing, there's a reason they're big money. There's a reason that they are successful. They see these things, they take advantage of it. They take advantage of the fact that a lot of people are investing with emotions. That's it. So Warren Buffett says, be fearful when others are greedy, greedy when others are fearful. Everybody was fearful. Big money was greedy. So was I. And so were a lot of you guys. And that was awesome. Raymond, if Elon talks about Tesla bot and Mars Vision, Wall Street will have a meltdown and sell the news. That's true. We haven't heard a lot about Optimus recently, so I wonder if we're going to hear more about Optimus. and Mars might be on there as well. So we'll hear about that. Energy is going to be a big one. I think energy is going to be big, but my thing about energy is they'll discuss it. I'm assuming they're going to be discussing lithium refining to go along with it because of all the materials that they're going to need, and lithium being the biggest bottleneck. But I don't know if Wall Street's going to grasp the magnitude that energy is going to bring. Yes, we've seen it growing significantly very recently, but is Wall Street truly going to understand the implications of the 5 and 10 year plan when it comes to energy? That I don't know. Wall Street is usually a 12-month kind of player. So if they're like, all right, well, energy 5 to 10 years down the road is awesome, but if you're not going to do it in the next 12 months, what do I care? Also, hoping version 11 is lights out. That should make the needle move too. And hopefully it actually comes out. Gosh, Elon keeps saying it'll be at the end of this week. It'll be out 2 weeks, the end of this week. And I know that they're facing bigger challenges with it. And I think last he said was 11.3.2 would be coming out for wide release. We'll see. At this point right now, maybe it's Investor Day that we actually get it. Elliot, the new revision we knew would increase, but it's going to be less going forward. They're not going to do 50. Yeah, that I don't know. I still think 25 basis points is the realistic number they're going to be doing in March, unless for some reason we get March CPI that comes out just through the roof and it goes back up again. Then they might do 50. But you have to remember that there's still a lot of significant interest rate hikes that they've done that really haven't taken effect yet. Last year was the fastest the Fed has ever raised interest rates. So there's a lot of time that needs to go by for those interest rates to really start affecting the market. So 25 does make the most sense to me. We will just see how that all works out. But looking at the new revisions, going forward, it will come down. So when we get to the end of the year, that will be better because the numbers got adjusted up for the end of this past year. So getting to the end of 2023, the inflation numbers will definitely look better. But for the next 3, 4, 5 months, they could actually look worse than what we may have thought. And the progress may not be as fast as we had previously seen just because of all of the revisions. Brandon, I'm hoping it makes a pullback. I don't want to get in back above 190. So for me, what I do in mine, I've got my fractional account in SoFi, and I add now $20 every single day. Once I get built up to a full share, I transfer that over into my TD Ameritrade account. And in doing so, I lower my cost basis over there for my full shares. And I was in the same exact boat as you. And I'm like, I was over one. And I'm like, do I really want to transfer it over? Because like my cost basis isn't going to move at all. Obviously, long term, it doesn't matter. I focus on the cost basis just for the near term stuff. But I'm like, man, I was like, it's not going to move the needle at all. Do I just wait? And I was like, nah, I pulled the trigger. I think it was at 192. I ended up converting it over, but I totally understand that. But the majority of my money is going to be saved for under 190 because I do think we will get down there. Charles, yeah, cyclical equals manipulated. So if you guys are following the cyclical stuff, one thing that I think is great, I own both JEPI and JEPQ. These are ETFs that have the JEPQ is high tech stuff. So it's got Tesla, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Amazon. All of those are in there. And then JEPI is more staple type companies that are in there. So you can really see how the cyclical stuff works because JEPI right now has been coming down while JEPQ is going up. So the tech cycle is now coming into play. Once that starts to shift, that's when I'll start to notice that, okay, now we're going through that other cycle on the way down again. You see it happen, there's different things that you'll see like EVs all of a sudden move at once. Lithium stocks move with all the EVs. So you see these cycles happen regularly, and it's not an exact science, of course, but if you start to pay attention to these cycles and you can really grasp when that cycle is changing, that gives you the indication of like, okay, all right, we're starting to move out of tech. So if you do want to swing trade, that might be the time you would want to sell and then put that stock, that money into maybe a staple stock or something else, or just leave it in cash, wait for that cycle to switch back. When the tech stock starts to hit the bottom and starts coming back up again, you catch that on the way back up. So some people do swing it that way with cyclical things. just because it's relatively easy to see for some people. What is going on, my friend? Yes, it definitely flew today, up 7.5%. Wow. Brandon, this is the first time in a while a Dow stayed above 34,000 for 2 consecutive days. Just because I'm so big into the tech, I haven't even been paying attention to the Dow. So good point on that one there. Yeah, that's pretty big. So and it's funny because the Dow is usually not tech related. So interesting to see that we're that high. Charles, if Ross drops out, Tesla to 1K. I don't think Ross is going to get on the board. I love Ross. Ross is probably, I mean, other than the drama that we saw with him in November and December, um, Ross has always been like my favorite Tesla cheerleader. Like him and Stephen Mark Ryan always bring such great energy to Tesla for anytime like you're not feeling good about the stock. But it's like he's definitely a drama queen, and when things were bad, that really showed with his drama queen self. Definitely a California guy. I mean, talk about drama. Brandon bought at 150, sold at 211. Well done. That's nice profits there. And again, everybody their own do your own thing with your own portfolio, and profits. There's nothing wrong with taking profits. I can't. Like I said, I did it in my IRA. Let me see. Raymond, Tesla price lately not following NASDAQ index seems to rise and fall in tandem with Kathy Wood ARK funds. Yeah, that's actually one thing I wanted to point out too. Thank you for bringing that up, Raymond. Is we've seen this disconnect now. We've seen it in the past. I've seen it many a time before where Tesla is really overperforming or underperforming the indices. And right now, clearly overperforming significantly. But we also saw it underperforming significantly at the end of last year, beginning of this year. So then you have to ask yourself, well, where are we in relation to where it should be? That's the hard part because it swings so much and doesn't always swing in line with the broader market. What I look at is Tesla's now outperforming right now. The market is shifting down. In my eyes, eventually, Tesla is going to be catching that downward swing as well, and it will be over exaggerated just to get caught back to where the market currently is. That's just my take on it, but this is what I've seen happen in the past, and I think it's going to happen again. Heck yeah, I'm excited for March 1st. I still have to figure out timing of it. I'm going to do a live stream at some point that day. I'm trying to figure out because I do have to go back to work, and I don't think I can have a day off after having a week off. They're going to frown upon that. But if I can get out of work early, then I will at least be able to hop on for you guys. I just have to find out when they're doing a live stream. It's going to be an all day event or just an evening event. But I will figure all that out for you guys and let you know as soon as I know. Karav, thank you. Berkshire filed today and they did not buy any Tesla. Thank you. I was waiting to see that news. I hadn't seen it come up yet. So all right. So now we take a look at Berkshire did not buy at 101. So Berkshire did not feel that 101 was a value enough play for them to buy in. So big if, again, don't hate me for it, but if we get a bigger recession than people think, and we end up pulling down to, let's say, that $60 level that other people thought we were at, that's probably a level that Berkshire would buy in if we get down to that level. I'm just saying. I don't think at this point right now. I truly don't know. But I've got to leave everything on the table and just be prepared for anything to happen. But if we get down to that level, that's probably where Berkshire would buy if they didn't buy at 101. Michael Sanford, heard you can now order Model Y with 4680 batteries. Like order it on the like a custom order page or on the inventory. Hold on. We're going to do this together. All right, let me bring this up here for you guys. Let's take a look. Can we go onto a custom order page and order ourselves? Model 3, Model Y, custom order. Let us see. Long range performance. No, I don't see it on here. So Nothing on that yet. But yes, you can definitely go. So if you go back and we go to where's inventory? Existing inventory. So what? None in my area? What? That's total madness. Well, that you guys saw it here. There is nothing within 200 miles of me available. Holy moly. I hadn't looked at this in a while. Um, Goodness gracious. No Model Ys available at all. Now, recently they did have the 4680s in here to buy. Now there's nothing. That's the furthest I can go. Wow. All right. Well then. Well, so no, I cannot get the 4680, at least not in my area. For you guys who don't know, I am in Connecticut, so I can see Rhode Island, Boston, and New York. I see all three of those, and nothing available at all. Jeffrey, do you think 220 is close? It's possible. I know that from what I was hearing, the shorts are looking to try and keep the stock under $200 by the end of the week. Now, don't forget, some things that we've seen in the past when it comes to CPI is we've seen a more positive reaction after a not so good CPI number the day that we got it announced. Then the next day, we saw a massive sell off and then a sell off for the rest of the week. So maybe this was kind of like a bull trap, and now they're going to pull back tomorrow. Again, there's so many different things that can happen. They've played it so many different ways. I don't know. Um, potentially we hit 220, or maybe we get that pullback and the shorts are going to bring us right back down under 200 by Friday. David, do you think Elon will talk about a Tesla phone? I don't think so. My thoughts on a Tesla phone are Elon himself has said that it's old technology, and at this point it really is. The speed that technology moves at, a smartphone, a smartphone is older technology. So the technology they would have to do, thinking about how Elon works, and it's got to be a compelling product that nobody else has. What can he do when it comes to a phone itself that would actually separate them from everyone else to make people be like, that's what I want. This is what's going to kick Apple and Android out the door, and people are going to want the Tesla phone. I can't foresee them actually doing anything in that market, because there's nothing that Tesla can do with it right now that can disrupt it. Yes, they can have a phone that's going to integrate with your whole ecosystem of Tesla. Great. But do you really need that? You have apps on your Apple. Like, I'm not going to go out and well, maybe I would, but like to get a Tesla phone, what could you have on there that you couldn't have elsewhere? So my thoughts on that would be when it comes to like a Neuralink, and that's obviously many years down the road, to a point where, like as Elon said, the thing that slows you down when it comes to a smartphone is your actual fingers. And using your fingers to type, that slows you down. You can think a lot faster than your fingers can move. So, if there's a way to get to either voice communication, which we have the voice to text and things like that, or you can just think things and it will then present itself on the phone in that form, I can see that happening. But other than that, I don't see a Tesla phone realistically coming out. I think that would be, to me, it would be like a waste of resources for them. Oh yeah, and there you go, Brandon. If Apple Store dropped Twitter, yeah, and at that point, there Elon would only do it. Yeah, like I said, for if there was a reason that he had to do it. Yeah, but I don't think so. Let me see. Yeah, TD Ameritrade. So TD Ameritrade, I like. It's a solid platform, but they don't do the fractional trading. Although because they were bought out by Schwab, I believe that they are actually going to be having fractional trading by the end of this year. So that'd be nice. Although I do like SoFi. I really do like SoFi as an overall platform and everything. It's very user friendly. Big fan. Tim, did you watch Dan O'Dowd's Super Bowl? I hit ad on Tesla. Call him Dano Clown. Yeah, lots of people call him Dano Clown. The dude spent tons of money to put out an ad to let everybody know who didn't already know that Tesla has cars that drive themselves. He doesn't realize that this is what he's doing. Like you look at the Super Bowl ads from last year, Tesla's search went through the roof. This year, search went through the roof. Because guess what? Everybody coming out here touting EVs are the way of the future. People are going to go out there and type in EVs. The first thing that's going to come up is Tesla. And if people want to buy one, they're going to be like, oh, where can I buy one? Well, nobody else has one available to buy other than Tesla. So it's just silly for these other companies to advertise products that they're going to be putting out in the future when they're really trying to pitch people on buying something now. So when people are like, ooh, you excited me, I want to buy something now. Oh, the only thing available is a Tesla. Well, guess what? Thank you, GM. Now I'm going to go buy a Tesla. So when Dan comes out and does these things, people are going to be like, oh, wait a minute. Tesla's an EV that I can buy right now, and it drives itself. That's interesting technology. Let me look into that. And then the people, as they do their own research, will realize that, oh, it's actually not like that. Obviously, some people aren't going to research, but either way, it puts that in people's minds. And they don't understand that just having that voice and noise out there about Tesla and about EVs is going to be positive for Tesla. Peter, Berkshire would not buy it if it went down to 50. It goes against Oxy. That is true. I'm actually curious at what point in the oil industry cycle Berkshire would drop out of Occidental. Obviously, they own a massive portion of it. So I truly don't know on that standpoint what they would do. You know, if they really saw that Tesla and energy, and maybe this investor day is going to give them kind of that inkling of timing on that, and maybe they say, okay, well, 2027, you know, renewable energy is really going to be dominating, and oil is going to be on its way out. Maybe at that point they make the switch. I don't know, but you could be right. You know, just because they have that, and it's against them. But again, some people do hedge on both sides, so maybe they have both just as that hedge. Karov, Tesla hit 101 on January 6th. That'd be cool. Oh, good point. Oh, there could be a lot more buyers. And when we see that, if we're seeing it February, what is that? April, I think we'd see it. We would end up seeing those or April or May. So good for pointing that out. One was in January. But it looks like it's going, guys. And then yeah, Tesla didn't stay low for long. That's true. Make it pulse buys. Yeah, I'll check my wait time. See here. My wait time was April 1st to May 13th. Last I checked, that was earlier today. Let me see what they are. Custom Model Y. April to June. There it is. Yep, April to June for the Model Y. So, you know, nothing in inventory. So there's demand out there for sure. On Investor Day, Elon will showcase a Neuralink lab monkey outperforming Wall Street analysts. That's not that hard. That's actually something that has been proven, by the way. If you guys haven't seen it, they had a monkey picking stocks, and it actually did a better job than the indices and analysts. Michael Anthony, yeah, Tesla's very overbought right now. Actually, let's take a look at what the RSI is on it. Oops, let's go here. Yeah, RSI right now is, well, 71. So it's not super overbought. But we were overbought, came back down just under overbought and popping back into it a little bit. So yes, definitely still we're back into overbought. Not super overbought, but we are there. So we just gotta paying attention to this little different things and signs that I look at. But actually, you know what? Let me take a look at where are we at on the weekly? So weekly, we are at 53, so right in the middle. Monthly, we're at 48. So, I mean, we're still relatively low on the weekly and the monthly for RSI. So there's room to move. Johnny B, the existing semi design is unusable in Asia or in Europe. Tesla would need to design a new vehicle to get those markets. Yeah, I think I mean, we saw two different sized ones. Obviously, I think one was a prototype, but just like the Cybertruck, they're going to have smaller versions of it. So I have no doubt we will see that. Josh, what are your thoughts on when Optimus makes its way to gigafactories into homes and thoughts on Tesla solving AGI? So AGI, I think, is going to be obviously playing the vital role in Optimus. So, as soon as Elon had that light bulb go off in his head that in order for them to solve FSD, they have to solve AGI basically. And once they solve that, it goes into Optimus. Perfect. So that's why they got a rush speed on coming up with the hardware for Optimus. So AGI and the solving of it, it's so hard. It's just like with FSD, it's not going to be solved. It's that march of nines. It's always going to be progressing and growing. So I think the stages of AGI are going to be when can humans create something that can think for itself? The next step is going to be when can that something else create something else that can think for itself? I think those are going to be the two next phases that we go through. That's where we get to the really scary phase is now this artificial intelligence is creating other artificial intelligence. That I think is where Elon really wants to make sure regulations are in place. So when it comes to them getting to the point where um, you know, humans have created something that can think for itself and problem solve on its own. We're obviously already there, but I would say probably 2025 will be when we get to that point for maybe an Optimus version. I think we'll get there before then for the vehicles because they're further along with that data collecting. Optimus in the gigafactories, I think we're going to see that coming probably in 2025 also. Maybe 2024, maybe we'll get a little more insight on Investor Day. And I think we're going to see that. And again, we already saw it starting to move some things around here and there. That was my initial thought was it's going to be moving boxes or cleaning up trash or doing things like that. Some of the, like Elon said, the mundane tasks, like janitorial things, just cleaning up some trash, throwing boxes away, whatever it is. So I think we might see that in the factories by 2024 or 2025. In homes, Elon said 5 years. I'm going to say I'll be happy if we see them in homes by 2030. Technology moves fast, so I could be way off on that, but I think 2030 is the realistic time frame that we start to see them possibly going into homes. Michael Anthony, I bought FLWS. I'm not sure what that one is actually. Don't know. Which beat earnings big time, which even got an upgrade to $15, which 13G filing today, and even CEO and CNBC a few minutes ago, and CEO said tomorrow big day for them. I'll take a look at that one. I'm interested in that. I don't know if any of you guys have Palantir, but Palantir was supposed to get be profitable by 2025. They're profitable now. So that jumped 20%. That was a massive jump. So I still do own some Palantir. I've got 25 shares of that still. And my cost basis on that is $17. I didn't dollar cost average on that because I wanted to put my money into Tesla. That was more important to me. So I could have brought my cost basis down significantly. That's fine. I'm good with that though. Palantir is looking strong going forward. Raymond, Tim, I read about Korean retail investors, the largest country-based holder of the Tesla stock. Do they know something culturally that North Americans are missing? They just love Tesla. From what I have gathered about them, they just love Tesla, which is awesome, which is also why they've been really pining to get Tesla over there and put a factory up. To have a country who has invested a significant amount of money into the Tesla stock itself to have now a factory in their country, they've proven, hey, we believe in your company. We've invested in your company. Please come here and invest in us as well. So I think that's one of the reasons why South Korea is near the top of the list for the Asia Pacific region. Lou, yes, it was definitely a great day. Let me see. This week I noticed so many 13G filing where funds are buying up shares on so many companies. And with all those funds buying shares, that a recession might not happen. Yes and no. You have to remember a lot of these companies that are out there are sitting on a ton of cash. And while, yes, they did a lot of buying, what seems like a lot of buying, many of them still have a ton of cash still sitting on the sidelines because they don't know about a recession going on. So they saw a great buying opportunity. They took advantage of that buying opportunity. And now they're sitting back and waiting. When it comes to big money, a lot of times they dollar cost average on a quarterly basis. So a lot of times this is where we see that rebalancing at the end of a quarter. Hey, these stocks are underperforming. We're going to maybe buy into them because we think they are going to do well and the stock price itself is suppressed. We'll buy a whole bunch up like they did with Tesla. And other times they're like, all right, well, we need to sell out of some of these. So typically it's end of quarter. So we would see this happen again at the end of March, which is right after the FOMC meeting in March. So we'll know better what's going on with rates. So we could have a very interesting end of the quarter when it comes to the stock price movements. Let's see. Is there a reason you don't do leaps and only shares? I am not familiar enough with options. I don't have enough money in the market to do true options. I know leaps usually cost less, but again, I don't like to do things I am not educated in. I don't like to invest in companies I don't know anything about. And so, because of that and my own lack of education, that is why I do not do leaps. Also, while I do think, like if I'm looking out 2 years to 2025, while I do think at that point we are going to be seeing the economy doing much better, a lot can happen between now and then. So I truly don't know. I do think that a leap is not a bad play to go with. It just I'm not as familiar with it, not educated enough on it to do it. But once I do get more educated, I will share that knowledge with you guys and share with you guys what I'm doing. Lou, yep, buying the dips has been proven to be awesome the past couple of days. Absolutely. Drop your cost basis. I dropped mine by I was at 265, so 228, about 40 bucks I've dropped mine down. Um, Made a huge difference. Johnny B, even the smaller Tesla semi still has a nose non-existent in the EU. Yeah, and I know they do that over there with the flat front just for just driving purposes. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they do come out with that design as well over there. That's a very good point. Ooh, Lang Leach, this is good information. South Korean union is very strong. Tesla might have a problem dealing with employees. I did not know that. That is good information. Thank you for sharing that one. And if you guys did not hear, sounds like Gigafactory New York has their employees looking to form a union up there, which obviously Elon has been against unions. What's going to transpire from this? I don't know. I know we've heard word about potential union talks previously in Fremont that went nowhere, but it was really ended up being more of a FUD piece, bringing the stock price down to buy in. Whether this is the same or not, I don't know. Now, Gigafactory New York isn't huge. They do have 1,700 employees there, so it's not small. But compared to their other factories, not massive. So I don't know if that's really going to affect the company much. But we'll just wait and see how that one plays out. Do you know Salesforce PE ratio is 680 while Tesla is only 60? Is Salesforce profitable yet? I don't know if they're profitable yet because that's well, obviously they're profitable if they have a PE of 68, 680. They must have just become profitable recently. Yeah, there's I mean, don't forget Tesla a year ago was around 680. So, oh yeah, Lou. When is the Moody's upgrade coming? That should be a great boost to us. That's actually a great point. I'm going to have to get a hold of Alexandra and find out. I haven't spoken to her in a little while. So I want to get her back on here because Moody's definitely should be coming. Maybe they're going to do it after March 1st. If Tesla does announce that next vehicle, because one of their silly caveats was the fact that Tesla didn't have a large enough breadth of vehicles that they had in their lineup. And I'm like, but they're selling more than everyone else in those categories. So do they really need more? It kind of sounds like, detrimental to their business going forward if they have too many. But either way, that's Moody's being stubborn, doing their thing. So that's got to be coming soon, I would think. And don't forget, when they do that, that's going to allow more institutional investors to come in as well. Um, so, when we do get these pullbacks, that'll be the time that institutions get in, which is why even buying at the price right now at 210 is like, it's not bad because eventually we're going to have a lot of institutional money coming in, buying up all the stock, and you're going to raise that base level of the stock price up to a point where it probably won't come down below. It's going to have a lot more stability to it. It'll move more like the Apples and Microsofts of the world. So you won't see massive swings in the stock price itself. So once that happens, we'll push up a lot. Lang, oh yeah, but Koreans are hardworking people. They're very nationalistic. They usually buy Korean-made cars or things. Very true, and they work a lot like the Chinese. So they would have a factory built very quickly. They would pump out cars very quickly as well. So I have no doubt on that. It's just how is the union going to play in with it? Um, let's see what else we got here. I'll get off in a minute. I got to go finish eating my dinner. Um, yeah, and Google stock keeps going down because Chat AI soft, or what else? So the Chat GPT is causing a lot of issues when it comes to these companies and the AI. And so I'm glad I sold my Google when I did. So I ended up selling mine at 103 and it dropped down to like what 194 is last I saw. I don't even know where it's at today. So I sold out of mine. I only had a couple of shares, but I wanted to free up cash for more Tesla. And then I sold out of Disney at 107. So I cleared out of both of those, freed up some cash. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Google, I think is going to be fine. Google has so much else going on for them. It's not like they're going to go away. But if Tesla can really utilize Dojo and they can solve AGI, having Dojo and AGI together, that could be a disruption that comes to big tech for sure with Tesla that a lot of people don't have on their radar at all. All right, let me see if there's anything else in here, and I'm going to jump off. Just want to make sure I got to every one of you guys. Mm, yeah, Tesla going union, and then Tesla will make less profits in New York. Yeah, but don't forget, New York isn't really pumping out a lot of stuff. It's negligible. So if they lose a little, it's not going to be anything really noticeable on the bottom line. Mm, mm. Oh yeah. Speaking of Alibaba, do you have Alibaba? Safe, keep your view. So I don't have Alibaba. I only have one Chinese stock. It's Neo. And I did it strictly because there's fees that you pay on those. So I still have to pay the fees on Neo. And with the Chinese economy right now kind of in massive flux, I wanted to give it some time to settle. But I did hear about Michael Burry buying some Baba. So, hey, you know, kudos to him for making that decision, saying these things. Maybe the Chinese market has hit the bottom and it's going to climb up from here. I truly don't know. But I don't own Alibaba. I know it was a great stock to swing with during COVID, though. Man, the profits people made off of that. Woo. Let me see. Uh, Job is a staffing company that gets people jobs in the USA. Only when the COVID started, the job payoff is 108 million. Yeah, there's a few of those companies that were out there. I did hear about that. That was one of the ones that I was looking to swing with during COVID. Um, Let me see. I have Neo too down about 25%. Yeah, mine's beat up. My cost basis is 29.99, so I'm not doing well on Neo at all. But I'm going to hold it. Might actually, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with Neo. I do like that. I like the Chinese plays. Sandy Munro said it himself. Elon said it. I think the Chinese manufacturers are going to be strong players in the future. The Chinese government is really pushing for it. They want to be the leaders in the world when it comes to EVs. So with that said, they're going to do everything they can to encourage this to make it happen. And we have been seeing that with all of their vehicles over there, all the companies. No other country in the world has as many EV companies that are trying to grow. So that is just it. And Neo is going to be one of the ones that does relatively well. They're going to expand to go to other countries. Last I knew, I don't know if it's Norway that they were getting into, and they do have a headquarters, I think, in San Francisco or San Jose, one of those two cities over in California. They do have a headquarters that is there, I think, to be scouting out, seeing what's going on here in the US. We will see them in the US at some point, but just don't know when. The hard part is with the US coming out with their EV tax credit, that's going to put a lot of pressure on companies like NIO and BYD to come to the US because they're going to need to really make a lot of partnerships with battery suppliers, with material suppliers, putting a factory actually in the US to have it made here, well, either here, Mexico, or Canada. So there's a lot of more ground that they need to make up themselves to be able to come over here. But yeah, I think the Chinese companies are going to do well in the future. Jose Perez, thank you for your videos. New to investing, and I've been doing pretty good with Tesla, buying a dip and selling for a bit of profit. Thanks, Jose. I appreciate that. And good job. Nice work. Yeah. And then for those of you guys, some people buy and hold. I think that's an awesome strategy. That's what I am doing. I just like to save cash to buy more on the dip. Some people take profits. Everybody does what is the best for their own decisions. You guys do that. Just make sure you take everything into account. If you're going to be selling to make some profits, make sure you just factor in paying taxes on those gains that you do make. Just some thoughts that some people forget about often. So want to make sure you guys remember that when you're doing this swing trading and taking some profits. As long as you guys factor that in, have at it. Do whatever you think is right for you. The stock being up 100% in a month, yeah, there's some profits to be had for sure. Lang, BYD better than Neo, but I have to pay monthly fee to buy BYD. BYD makes better. Battery is big plus. Yeah, BYD. I think overall BYD is going to be, they're obviously the main player over in China. The other startups are going to do relatively well, but BYD is the big player. So I think they're going to do fine. But the problem that BYD does have that the startups don't, just like here with Legacy Auto, they're going to have to cannibalize their own business in order to be successful in the future. Not to say they can't do it. I have no doubt they will. And like you said, they've got the batteries also, which makes a huge difference. But when it comes to them, again, cannibalizing themselves is going to be tough. We've said it numerous times that it's not EVs versus EVs. It's EVs versus ICE. And so any company out there that is currently producing ICE vehicles and they're trying to come up with EVs, they have to then basically beat themselves up to take over and put EVs in place. And then, yeah, as Brandon says here, Berkshire's been actually dropping BYD stock. I haven't heard anything about why. They've just been selling off a little bit. You have to remember, Berkshire still owns a significant amount of BYD. It's not like they sold off a large portion of it. They still own a lot of BYD. So yes, they've been selling off some, but I think they've just been selling off some because, well, Warren Buffett isn't sure what's going on with the market either, and he wants to make sure he's got cash on the side. So he wanted to reduce his exposure a little bit over there, and that was it. Shanghai's producing 22,000 cars a week. Is it up to 22,000? Last I saw it was just under 21. If it's 22, that's awesome. So I know that's going to be basically where they're at. And Elon said they're not going to be pushing up Shanghai's production much anymore. So I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe he's sandbagging us. But I do like what Sandy Munro said. And, looking at that 1.9 to 2 million vehicles produced and sold this year, I'm on board with that. All right, kids, I'm going to call it the evening. It's time for me to go get some dinner. But thank you guys for joining me tonight. This was awesome. Had a lot of awesome things to think about and talk about. 7.5% up on the day. Absolutely awesome. Very excited about that. We will see how the rest of the week plays out. I will be doing a live stream on Friday night as well, potentially having some guests. Not sure yet. I will let you guys know as soon as I know. Next week, we will be on with Peggy and Farzad. I'm on vacation next week, so we will also be having, I don't know, I'll see who else I'm going to have on here. I'm going to reach out to some other people and maybe we'll do some midday live streams, maybe a ladies' night, but earlier in the day. We'll see. Got a lot of exciting things going on. So otherwise, I will see you guys all later.